Star Wars Clone Wars Season 7, Episode 1, The Bad Batch. So, of course, Clone Wars has finally returned. I'm super happy. All I'm waiting for, honestly, is Darth Maul versus Ahsoka, if I'm being totally honest. I just want all the Mandalorian stuff, because that's all I care about. But this is a sweet start. I was really happy with this episode. They introduced the Bad Batch, which already looked pretty cool. I'd seen them in the promos and stuff. Their costumes are awesome, so we can, of course, expect a bunch of toys of them, because they look really cool. And I was like, yeah, okay, alright, that's pretty sweet. So I like the characters. It'll be interesting to see pretty much how long they live throughout this series. I assume that they're going to be a main part of it. I hope they are, because they seem really cool. And of course, this is the first time we've ever seen clones with abilities. And the only one that really showed off their abilities, I guess there are two of them technically, that was Wrecker, when he literally lifts an entire ship. And then we see Hunter, where it's like he genuinely has the ability to like track and stuff like that. So I thought that was cool. Crosshair, I mean, I guess he has better vision. That has to be like his augmentation, is that he literally has like enhanced vision. And then of course Tech is probably just like mentally a lot smarter. And they're really cool. I love the design for these characters, because they even know in it where it's like, these guys are clones, because they don't look like clones. Like, they're all supposed to be, you know, I mean, obviously some clones are made before other clones, so there are older clones and things like that. But like Crosshair had like completely gray hair. Tech went balding, which I was like, well, that's interesting, because obviously they're clones. Everyone's supposed to have the same, you know, texture and stuff like that, genetically speaking. But it's like one dude's old enough to have gray hair, but the other guy went balding and his hair's still brown. And I was like, that's really interesting. And it shows that them like manipulating them in whatever crazy superhuman way that they did, that changed kind of how they were. Because like even Wrecker, he's taller, which obviously is clones, once again the same as the hair. Everyone's supposed to look the same. That was the point of like the different hairstyles, and everyone has tattoos. That's how you get to see the characters, aside from, you know, their clone trooper outfits. When they take the helmets off, it's like, well, does this person have this hairstyle, does this person have this hairstyle, tattoos and scars and things like that. But he was just taller, and then they're older and stuff like that. And I was like, that's pretty sweet. So I like these characters. They kind of do a guns a-blazing type approach. They're a very tight-knit group. They have, you know, their run and gun type plans, but even though they kind of ran towards an entire squad of droids, you know, just firing at them, they had a really calculated plan. It was like, all right, throw, you know, an EMP here, and then, you know, they repeat it, they toss it, shoot it, takes out a wave, they move a little bit closer. I was like, this is really cool. So it was nice to see kind of how they operated, and obviously they're not 100% by the book. They like to kind of go a little crazy, but they're really cool characters. So I like that idea. Of course, this episode kind of starts off really strong story-wise, where it's like, we're, you know, putting you guys right into, you know, main content. By the end of the episode, we find out that Echo is actually alive. Now, it's been forever, and I didn't do recaps before the season started, which I probably should have, and I'll probably do it after. Because one of the big things is I always forget, how the different clones died. Like, I'm pretty sure Fives was the one that knew about Order 66, if I remember correctly. He was the one that got killed for that. I don't remember how Echo supposedly died. And Heavy, if I remember right, that was genuinely like during a mission where he ends up getting killed. So that was cool. You know, they kind of reference like the main clones that we kind of start the series off with and everything like that, and how things have kind of changed so much. We do see Anakin, we do see Mace Windu, and that was cool. You know, they were in there, they spoke a little bit. Anakin seems to know that there's a little bit extra, like, okay, he can, you know, using the Force, he can sense something's going on. But of course, by the end, we find out that Echo is officially alive. And I don't know what's happening, because they mentioned, yeah, at first it was like, okay, well, it's got to be some system or algorithm or whatever. And then it turns out it's not just an algorithm, it's like a live feed. So that really changes things, because now they have to travel to wherever this feed is coming from. We have to find out how they manipulated Echo, which could just be the fact that the clones were always meant to be, you know, because that's what Palpatine did. Like, he's on both sides. So it was probably like, yeah, he's totally dead. And then they just took him, because it was like, well, we know how to manipulate the clones. Like, that's what Order 66 was for, to be like, all right, do all of this, and as soon as you hear these words, switch and kill everybody. So they could have easily just captured him and then, you know, played off that he was dead, but he actually survived. And then they just mentally, you know, change him up a bit, and it's like, all right, do this so we know how to play around. So we'll see how that ends up playing out. It should be interesting, because I know there are three. I think it's, man, I can't freaking remember who's dead and who's alive, but I think like, if you watch Rebels, there are 3 clone troopers left, and they talk about like, yeah, we got rid of our chips and stuff like that. So I'm assuming we'll actually see that take place in this final season, which should be pretty cool. So I'm excited to see how that ends up playing out. But great first episode. I wish it was an hour long. I wish that That just would have been great, but it was pretty cool. It was cool. It was a nice 24-minute episode. Everything still looks great. Like, the visuals just look really good. I'm very excited to see them get into, more lightsaber action, because that's just always fun. But I'm very excited for this season. I haven't looked up how many episodes there are supposed to be, but I'm definitely looking forward to it. Like, I can't wait to see what we get out of this final season. What's going to happen with Ahsoka coming back. I know she gets, like, new lightsabers and stuff like that. I know she's supposed to team up with somebody. I can't remember if it was Asajj Ventress or not. I can't remember if that's the case. I know that's kind of canon now, that some stuff happens with Asajj Ventress and another Jedi. I can't think of his name either. But there's a lot to really go through. We have all the Mandalorian stuff coming in, so that's going to lead into, like, going through this final season, we'll get to see, everything that happened with the Mandalorian siege. That will most likely lead into, like, the Mandalorian season 2 and talk about, like, this is what happened there, and that's how certain things impact the Mandalorian. And obviously, Rebels as well kind of does a lot of stuff with Mandalore, so I'm excited to see how that plays out. Like I said, Darth Maul being in there, that's always a fan favorite. Ahsoka versus Darth Maul, can't wait to see that. But I'm looking forward to this season. I think we had a really good start to it. I would have liked to have seen, for one, like I said, a longer episode. Two, I would have liked to have seen just some Jedi action, just because that would have been pretty sweet. But I would have loved it if Ahsoka was just in the first episode. That's kind of what I thought. But if I'm not mistaken, in the trailer, they are at this specific base. So we probably won't have to wait too long. It'll probably be, a few episodes. But I don't think we'll have to wait too long before Ahsoka actually does end up showing up. So that'll be pretty fun, and I know some of her stuff is still, like, her being in Coruscant and things like that, so it might take a minute before we get that specific scene, but I think she'll be showing up, hopefully, sooner rather than later, but that probably won't be for another maybe 2 episodes. It might not be for, like, a full month before we actually see Ahsoka's side of the story with her, back on Coruscant. So looking forward to that, looking forward to whatever random surprises they may or may not throw our way, but I'm excited. I'm glad the show is finally freaking back. Like I said, I of course wish, first off, I wish, it was kind of the Netflix thing and it was just like, boom, here's the whole season, because I would have shot straight through it this whole weekend. But of course, they're smarter than that. And it's like, nope, you got to do it week by week. So, I'll be doing these. I'm excited to do some Star Wars reviews ever since, The Mandalorian ended. It's like, all right, more Star Wars. The final season. It sucks that it's the final season, but at least we get an official ending. The weird thing with Disney Plus, I don't know what the deal is. It seems like they took off a buttload of episodes as this episode premiered, because I was going through and I was like, oh man, let me look up just look up titles and read descriptions. And they have like 8 episodes per season. And I was like, I don't understand what's happening, because I know like a few weeks ago, I was looking at a bunch of stuff, and then I went on there, today after I watched the episode, I was like, oh, let me try to recap a few things myself. And I couldn't, because they have like 8 episodes for seasons 1 through 6. It's just like 8, 8, and 8. And I was like, I don't understand what's going on here. So I don't know what the weird deal is with that. I don't know if that's just like some random thing that I was experiencing, or if they just took a buttload of episodes off, because nothing's there. It's like 8 episodes. And like, I think for season 6, they have like the last episode they have is literally like The Disappeared part 1. And then there's nothing after that. And I was like, what is going on here? Like, you can't watch any of the final episodes, like Ahsoka leaving or any of that stuff. They don't have, I don't think they have any of the Lost episode stuff on there. And I was like, this doesn't make any sense. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know what happened, but there are a ton of episodes just missing. Like, most of the series, honestly, there's literally like 8 episodes for each season that you can go through, and there's just nothing there. And I was like, I don't understand what's happening at all right now. So something is going on, and all the episodes are missing from the series right now. So even if you wanted to recap, you kind of can't right now, which is weird. But fortunately, you can always go to YouTube and just get a bunch of synopsises and whatnot. So I'll probably end up doing that to kind of refresh myself, mostly on the clone thing. It's just who died and how they died. Everything else is kind of normal. It's like, all right, these are pretty much the people that show up in the movie, so I kind of know their story kind of going forward. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how this season ends up playing out. But excited for the next one. I want to see more of the Bad Batch, because I think they're pretty sweet. I would love to get some answers on that as to why they're like the secret government organization. Like, they're the secret ones out of all the clones. It's like they have these augmentations, which seem to, work out really well. And we don't know, as far as like, they, once again, them not seeming like clones, what the deal is with that. Maybe they do age faster. Maybe, depending on the ability, they age faster. Other abilities they don't. Obviously they've changed things like height and just a lot of different stuff with their genetic structure. So hopefully we get some cool details about that, because I think they'll make their characters even more entertaining, just to see, maybe they have a shelf life or something crazy like that, or who knows what happens with them. Going into Order 66, they'd be really hard to beat because you have a dude who can literally lift ships up off the ground, and then he's going crazy and killing people. And then you have other clone troopers, well, 3 of them who are able to got the chips out ahead of time. And it's like maybe they'll end up fighting them towards the end of the series. I think that would be really cool if that was like a special where like the clones have to of course survive. Like there's 3 clones that do. So how do they survive? And odds are they probably have to fight. And that would be like a really crazy episode if we got to see that kind of going into the series finale. But excited for the premiere. I thought it was pretty good. I'm looking forward to more episodes. Hopefully we'll get some brighter ones. That was one thing I noticed with this whole episode. It just seemed oddly dark. Like even when it was daytime, everything was, it was like in the mountain and stuff in the ships. Everything just seemed like it had this crazy shadow. And I was like, man, I wish it was just like brighter a little bit. Like a lot of stuff seemed to just blend together because it was all like just covered in shadow and dark. Other than that, it was totally fine though. The action was really good. I liked the choreography, like how they were kind of going through as a team. I thought that was pretty cool. Like the scene where they come up on the elevator and they're all just in a circle and it's just like they just start blasting and stuff. I was like, this is actually pretty sweet. And we see the one dude who loves using that knife. He was just like a serial killer almost. He would be like gutting droids and stuff like that. And I was like, this is weird, but it looks super sweet. So excited to see more action like that. Excited to see this entire freaking season in general. Of course, I would love to know what you guys thought about it. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. Let me know your favorite parts about it, your least favorite parts about it. And of course, I want to know what you guys want to see, what you don't want to see maybe from this final season. What do you think is just a waste of time? Don't even bother with it. What do you want to see the most of? For me personally, it's definitely the Mandalorian element. Like that's my favorite part of all of Star Wars is the Mandalorian stuff. So I want to see what they do with that. I want to see Darth Maul versus Ahsoka. I would love to see Obi-Wan versus Darth Maul, but I know that doesn't happen because they referenced that in Star Wars Rebels, where it's like he hadn't fought against Obi-Wan for like decades, and they even referenced that in the trailer where it's like I was expecting Obi-Wan to be here, I was expecting Kenobi. So unfortunately, I don't think we're gonna get those two interacting because I think that was kind of the point, is that they hadn't seen each other for like 50 years or whatever, something crazy. It was not 50 years. It was only 20 years. But that's just kind of how it is. So that's unfortunate. I would love to see that just because I love that rivalry, within the world of Star Wars. But anything Darth Maul is awesome, and anything Ahsoka is awesome. So the two of them fighting, that's perfect. So I'm looking forward to that. Anything else, I don't mind surprises. I'll just wait and see what happens. I expect one particular smuggler to make a surprise appearance, like, hey, check me out, it's Hondo. He's got to be in there at some point. Like, everything has Hondo in it, it seems, at this point. At some point, he's got to just show up, like, that's the guy now. So I expect to see him. Hopefully we'll get a couple other cameo appearances. I know Kanan is in this as a kid. Maybe we'll see some Order 66 episodes just to see how that stuff truly plays out. That would be interesting. That would be really dark, because obviously most Jedi won't survive, but I would love to see that. That would be cool. What would also be insane, they won't do this, but if for some reason they put like Cal Kestis from Jedi Fallen Order, if he made an appearance in this, or like his master, that would be awesome. I would love it if they made that where, like, it doesn't have to be an episode, but they just reference, like, yeah, Master, whatever. I can't remember his name, so hopefully I catch it if they happen to throw that reference in there. But if they say Kestis, I'll be like, oh, that's easy to remember because he was the main character. But I would love to see a cameo for that. They had Kanan in there. They're probably still animating some of the episodes, so they could easily do that and just be like, boom, here's a reference to Cal Kestis as a kid. So I would love to see that. But otherwise, any surprise they have, I don't care. I want to see it. I want to see everything. So looking forward to it. Like I said, want to know what you guys want to see or don't want to see. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. And of course, thanks for watching.